Hello everyone, welcome to another day in this the clown decade, the decade where things are only going to get worse before they get better. And in this case, we are going through how one of the best YouTubers, one would have said a few years ago of all time, completely fell off and got worse. And to be honest, I don't see a reason he can't get better in the future, but it doesn't look like it's going that way. Yes, today we are covering IDubbbz. Now, IDubbbz, who is best known for his Content Cop series and is exactly how I was introduced to him, made some of the best takedowns of some of the larger YouTubers that this site has ever seen. Obviously, you had the infamous Keemstar one, you had the famous Tana Montague one, where he said the famous N-word while getting a picture of her, and it was all done in the name of, effectively, making the YouTube sphere better, if you want to be a bit more accurate on that term, making society better, while throwing in edgy jokes here and there. He was certainly known for being edgy, and I think everyone knows, with some detail, varying degrees of detail, of how he fell off. We're not really going into that detail today, though I will make references to it, obviously, so if you're not caught up, just know that everything I make reference to is actually true. And there are plenty of other people out there who have made effectively documentary-sized videos on how IDubbbz fell off, and so just go to them. There's no point in me rehashing that old ground. I'm just going to make jokes about him, because he is, frankly, a pathetic man at this point. And you may be wondering, well, what makes me say this? Well, it's because through going through one of these documentary-style videos of how he fell off, I found out that he actually kind of did another Content Cop, but didn't call it Content Cop for obvious reasons. He called the video Narcs, IDubbbz Complains. And if you don't know what Narcs is, don't worry, IDubbbz will go through that. But from the few clips I did see of this video, I thought, I really got a feeling I had to go through this, because I really could not understand how, even with IDubbbz fall off, how did he make a video like this, considering that the whole reason for Content Cop is that effectively people were being lazy. People like Jinx, he was being very lazy with his reaction videos, basically not having any reaction in his videos and just stealing the content and making money off it because he could monetize them. And obviously this isn't as direct as stealing, but this is definitely something to do with laziness, which IDubbbz was never known for being lazy, and now he is. Seriously, with all the content creator clash stuff, yeah, he is very lazy to the point he lost $250,000 being lazy. Again, details of that can be found elsewhere. For now, I think we really need to get into this video.
Greetings and salutations, my mud-blooded Americans. Today I'm wearing my studded leather sash. Gives me 8 strength and 8 agility. Okay,
I'm going to make a promise right now. This is the only skit that I'm going to go through where there isn't any commentary. I just need you to witness how unfunny IDubbbz is these days. What is the joke here? American cultural reference, I guess, plus RPG reference. This really is quite a long way off a man who did a review of pickles and peaches in a sewer.
Which, no. Let's do that over again. Why did I say agility? 8 strength and 8 stamina.
The joke just doesn't land. Again, this is going to be the one and only time I put in a skit that has nothing of actual substance here. But you do just need to see how bad it's actually got, because there'll be a few people in my audience who know of his Content Cop, probably watched it years ago. I didn't realise just how bad it got. Yeah, I am putting this in your face because I had to watch it, but I promise it'll be the only time.
On today's episode, I'm going to be complaining about the Cart Narc. Now, if you're not familiar with Cart Narcs, it's basically this guy, Sebastian, who works for a radio show, who had the idea to shame people who aren't bringing their carts back to the cart corral.
I mean, yeah, based. Thank God for that, I guess. It really annoys me when we call them trolleys in the UK, when shopping carts are just left and not put in the trolley bay. And instead, they're just left about the car park, put into parking spaces as the worst one. I've even gone out of my way to move trolleys back to the trolley bay. It annoys me that much.
Dinged car doors, spots taken up, grocery prices raised sky high because employees have to go out and spend their time hunting down carts.
I mean, based, yeah. He's right. Like, all these admittedly very, very small problems caused basically by people just being lazy. Yeah, what's the problem with this?
We are publicly shaming those dicks who don't take back their shopping carts.
Based. I absolutely love this guy. Yeah, shame people who don't take their trolleys back to the trolley bay, their shopping cart back to the shopping cart bay, whatever you want to say, Americans. What could you possibly have a problem with here? Unless he's like keying people's cars and slashing people's tyres who aren't doing it, but publicly shaming them? Yeah, do it. Publicly shame lazy people, please.
Cart Narcs, you curved your cart. You didn't take it back to the cart corral where it belonged. Are you okay? That's the second curbing, by the way.
No, I'm not okay, you fucker.
I mean, again, this guy's humiliated. Good. Hopefully, he'll learn to put his cart back where it belongs and not just leave it by his car. Like, yeah, this is a good thing. The man is humiliated through his own actions. Someone pointing out that his own actions are embarrassing is in no way a bad thing. Which, to be fair, I think is something that IDubbbz might be against these days, because all of his actions over the past few years have humiliated him and been his own fault. Anyway, there's plenty of other examples that IDubbbz puts up of clips of him narking on people for being lazy. You know, his catchphrase turns into lazy bones. Again, I'm not seeing any problem with this.
It ended up being entertaining for a good amount of people, and I was definitely one of those people where I was like, I think this is interesting. I like the idea. It is pretty inoffensive to like approach someone and be like, hey, you mind taking your shopping cart back?
Okay, interesting. So IDubbbz apparently doesn't have a problem with this. Obviously there's a but coming, but it's at least good to see how he can see the social value here.
But the problem is we've sort of graduated from that.
See, that attitude's getting you a hood magnet of shame, sir. Go with a hood magnet, since that was a gotcha.
What, we've graduated to him investing in some magnets that humiliate people more. What's the issue? Car magnets don't scratch paintwork, if that's what you're going to complain about. And if you're embarrassed by them and have to take it off and throw it away, I mean, at that point, why not have a go at Jehovah's Witnesses who give you leaflets in the street? You know, what's your complaint going to be, IDubbbz?
But now we're on season 17 of the Cart Narcs, and I'm like, just sort of over it.
Okay, I mean, fine. Like, I'm over The Simpsons now, and I absolutely adored that show when I was younger. But if there are still people out there who are still liking it and he's still finding an audience for it, why would he stop? And again, this is a public good. This is a service to society. I applaud him for managing to get to 17 seasons of it. If you find it's getting boring, why are you making a whole video on it? Are you seriously going to make a video to say this is boring?
The what if question was already answered. It's basically like, what if we did this? Well, the answer is some people get upset. And, you know, you can say it's justified or not, doesn't really matter, but we got our answer.
Yeah, but I don't think he just did it as a social thought experiment. I think he did it because he genuinely wants people to not be lazy and put their carts back. You know, I wouldn't be particularly shocked if he got the idea from this 4chan post that goes viral every now and then, really. Effectively saying that if a shopping cart goes back to the shopping cart bay or not is actually a litmus test of whether people in that area are capable of self-governing, or they need, you know, top-down governing for people to tell them what the rules are. Effectively, it tells you if a person is willing to go out of their way to make society better, or if they're a lazy, self-centered person that doesn't really care about the society around them and only cares about where they are in their own life. And obviously, things for society get better if you are the former of these people. This man is just doing the simplest thing he can, shaming people for not being like that, to try and incentivize them to be like that. And if they get annoyed from that, so what? They are being bad people. Not necessarily evil, just lazy. You know, sloth is a sin. So I think there's good reason for that. And so, yeah, I don't think he did it in the first place as a social experiment. And even if it did start like that, effectively it turned into, one, an entertaining series, so why would he stop? But two, a service that even you, IDubbbz, as you admitted, can get behind. Like, okay, the social experiment part's over. This is now just a public service. I say keep going.
Just asking someone to take their shopping cart back doesn't really evoke a strong reaction in people. Most people will just fucking ignore it, drive off. They won't throw a hissy fit.
Right, so I suppose this is going to then be your problem with it. He's now going a bit more out of his way to actually annoy people and invoke a reaction. Okay, I guess I'm starting to see your problem here, but I'm not being funny. This is coming from a man, again, who said, say the N-word to a person that was calling you racist. Now, I completely understand that you want to get past this whole I've got an audience of people that think it's okay to say N-word, F-word to you in public, but as much as you try and get past that, this is a really bad way to try and really signal to people that you're past that. This just looks pathetic. I guess we need better examples of why this is a bad thing, because so far all we've seen is a few people drive off in anger, and he's done little more than put car magnets on people's cars.
The first topic I want to cover with the cart narcs is the insult of lazy bones.
Okay, again, when I said pathetic, I didn't think you'd have a problem with him calling people lazy.
What we do is we narc out people who are being big old lazy bones and not taking their carts back.
I mean, yeah, based. That's absolutely fine. Good.
There's a lot of people who say, like, yeah, this ain't so bad. The cart narc, he's hitting people with the white people insults. What's so wrong with that?
I mean, unironically, what is wrong with that? It's fine to call lazy people lazy. Secondly, I do like how IDubbbz is trying to get away from this, oh, people are calling me racist, I'm going to tell people that I never had black friends, therefore I need to learn how to be a better race ally. And then he's coming out saying, oh, the white people insults. Like, the implication, I guess, being that black people are a bit more aggressive with their insults here. That's kind of what is being said there. White people do the civilized insults, other races do not. I don't see how that's good for your I'm not racist image, but you do you, man.
It's like, dude, if someone called you lazy bones, would you not feel fucking awful? Especially if you're being lazy?
Is this irony? Are you being ironic here? I don't know whether to actually dignify this with a response.
That shit is like a level 9 white people insult. Those hurt. It's in that weird area of, like, you're not being, like, barbaric. You're not calling someone an asshole and flipping them off. Fuck you, asshole! It's like when you see someone doing that, almost like violent and aggravated, you almost feel bad because it's like, ooh, you don't have control of what's going on here.
I am so confused by what I am listening to. When I started this video, I did not think I'd be confused at what IDubbbz is actually complaining about. Are you complaining that this quote-unquote white person insult is direct to the point and not aggressive, and so therefore you don't feel like you can be aggressive back? Is that your problem here? Your problem is that he's being too passive, and therefore it makes the other people whose feelings are hurt look worse because they're being very aggressive to someone who is not being aggressive at all. If that is your complaint, you are an idiot.
I think one of the worst insults that I've ever received in my life was a white person insult, and it was just a really well-placed no shit Sherlock. Like, if someone hits you with a no shit Sherlock at the right moment in time, you can't recover from that.
Was that it? Was that the complaint? Lazy bones you don't really feel like you have a response to that's in any way good? Here's a good response. Sorry, you're right, I am being lazy, let me return the cart. Is that your complaint? That you can't have an argument against it because it's true? I don't think he was being ironic before. I think he genuinely thinks he shouldn't call people lazy because it hurts their feelings and they can't reasonably argue back. I think that's genuinely his complaint. This man made Content Cop. Are you kidding me?
Another point that I'd like to address, I think often goes unnoticed by people, and that is two people can be assholes simultaneously.
I have no doubt in 17 seasons that he has not performed his best and his most white person, as you would put it. Again, I can't believe he keeps saying that. Oh, this white person insult. Oh, white people are so civilized unlike those other races. That's what he's saying there. I can't believe that he thinks that's acceptable when he's supposed to be the anti-racist guy.
You can dislike both people and think that they're both being unreasonable and shitty.
Okay, fine. Finally, we've got to a decent complaint. Yes, I want to see what these clips are, though. I want to see what your version of both people are awful is. I get a feeling it's not that bad.
The person not taking their car back, yeah, absolutely. Unreasonable. Lazy. Whatever you want to, like, attribute to them.
Okay, so once again, your complaint about lazy bones, you've just completely contradicted it. Like, what was your problem with calling people lazybones? Were you just making white people make really civilized insult jokes? Was that it? Was that all that was? What is this content, Ian? What is it? Seriously, what is he? What substance has there been so far? Like, white people have civilized insults is all we can garner so far. I don't like Cartnock. Still not actually sure why, beyond the fact he's white.
But to pretend that Agent Sebastian isn't being an asshole and he isn't being an unreasonable piece of shit, like, come on.
Right, now we're going into the clips of what Ian has described as Agent Sebastian being as an unreasonable piece of a-hole. Like, I mean, I may as well swear at this point, but I'm still not going to, because I want to be more professional. Like, Ian, it is fine to be more professional if that's what you are aiming for, but believe it or not, you can still be professional and edgy. This is honestly embarrassing content. I still can't believe you made this. Anyway, here are the clips.
So you're harassing people who leave their carts?
Polite ask. We're not a harass. It's a polite ask. We're sweet and loving about it.
Like he's being lazy bones in a couple other ways. Oral hygiene and such.
Right, okay, so, again, Sebastian being an a-hole here is apparently explaining to someone that, once again, he is just saying, you are lazy if you don't take this cart back. Take this cart back, or you're lazy. And then he lets him drive off, and then he makes fun of the fact that he doesn't have very good teeth. I mean, I'm not being funny, but I think calling him a piece of a-hole is ruder than him saying that someone doesn't have very good oral hygiene. I think it's genuinely the direct insult is worse than pointing out that someone has bad teeth. Like, okay, he didn't have to say that he's got bad teeth. I'm with you there. I think not taking the shopping cart back is worse, especially when you acknowledge that all he's doing is ask you to take the shopping cart back, and then you don't do it basically because you're asked to. Like, again, fine. He's not Jesus all the time. I don't think he particularly needs to be. Again, I think there's levels of being an annoying person, being an a-hole, if you will. Sebastian, so far, has been the lesser of everyone involved in this video so far.
This is the thing with these lazy bones sympathizers and crackheads.
What, he calls some people who shop in America crackheads? Like, yeah, he doesn't like these people. It's fine to insult them. Like, you got to realise that to Sebastian doing these, I guess you can call them vlogs, it is a stream of consciousness. He is saying what he thinks. Yeah, wow, people who think things are absolute a-holes sometimes. I don't care. Like, you made a video because he has a stream of consciousness? Like, again, IDubbbz, you're doing the same thing to him, and if your defense is just, alright, well, I'm as much an a-hole as he is, it's like, well, what was the point of making the video then? Everyone can see this. I think everyone understands he's not always going to be a saint. I don't think anyone expects that. So, again, what is the point of this video so far? What doesn't he like? Oh, he's a bit of a prick. Great. I mean, you compare this to the other content cops where, you know, it was 20 minutes of pure distilled critique along with edgy jokes. I mean that seriously. He put effort and thought into what he was criticising with these people, with people like Leafy, with Keemstar, with Jinx. When it comes to this, it's just, I don't really like the guy. And that's as far as the critique has gone so far.
Like, maybe you were like just off homeless dudes all day. That's why you're tired. Is that why you're tired? From giving to homeless man for charity, because it's a charity thing.
Again, it's not like Sebastian's coming out of the gate being like this. This is clearly after having a long conversation about why taking back the shopping cart isn't a big deal. You know, it doesn't take much effort. This is why he's getting annoyed, because he knows it doesn't take a lot of effort, and these people are seriously being very lazy. And he loses rugby, he gets insulting. Yeah, happens to everyone, IDubbbz. What's your point here?
I also want to say that ignoring someone's wishes for you to leave them alone after they very clearly said 15 times in multiple different ways, leave me alone, get away from my car, get away from me. If you continue to ignore that, you are fucking creepy.
Well, depends on the context of what you're doing. I have literally seen elderly people say to teenagers for a good 10 minutes, please just, that bottle you've just thrown on the floor, please put it in the bin. 10 minutes worth of the kids saying, you know, shut up, old man, whatever. You know, I've seen it happen in parks. And eventually the teenagers go away and the elderly person puts it in the bin anyway. And it's like, I don't think you're a bad person for consistently telling people, stop being lazy, do what effectively is good for society. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that for 10 minutes straight. I don't really get why IDubbbz has an issue with it. Like, oh, he's creepy for doing this. All right, let's see the clip then.
Off right now. I mean, irresponsible person. My stuff. You don't follow me right now. I mean, you're starting this shit. Back the fuck off. You trying me? Fuck alone. Leave me the fuck away from me. You do not get anywhere near me. Stop. Stop it. Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me the fuck
I suppose I've been harsh to Ian so far. It's good to see, though, that he still puts effort into his editing in places like that. That is good to see. But again, you got to realise what this looks like to someone that is very much on the take the shopping cart back or else side of things. This woman was more than happy to run around her car, shout at Sebastian 30 odd times, instead of just putting the cart back like a normal human being. Again, you can call him an a-hole all you want. Like, I doubt there's people out there that are saying he's a saint. But again, I just cannot see upon any plane of existence how Sebastian is the one you should be complaining about here. Like, again, Ian has ultimately taken the side of the person saying, leave me alone, I'm not taking the shopping cart back. I don't think you're a good person if you've taken that side of things, to be honest with you.
Like, the door-to-door salesmen take, like, at max, like 4 no's. They'll take 4 no's from someone before they leave. This guy will take, I don't know, like 15 to 20 no's, and he'll keep going.
Right, so to be fair to Ian, this is probably the first complaint where he may have a point. I still disagree with it, but finally, a little bit of substance. It's not much, but we'll take it.
Yes, it's very easy to call these people unhinged. Another word you can use is disabled.
Pardon me?
Their brain isn't working like yours or mine.
Okay, this is a really, really, really weird direction to go. Are you saying that these people are unironically mentally handicapped? I don't think they are. I think, again, they are just lazy. You know, these people have pretty decent cars. You know, these people do well enough to have a job, have presumably a family, and can afford a place to live in a car. You know, these people are capable of putting shopping carts back. Are you seriously saying these people are too stupid to put the cart back?
For some people, they feel like they have to answer the door.
Do you not answer your door when people knock on it? How old are you? 10? Are you serious? The only times I do not answer the door is when I'm in important meetings for work. That is the only time, because I'm prioritising. But I would never even think of ignoring a door. I mean, I can't now because I've got dogs that bark at it, so it's quite difficult to ignore. But even when I was living with my parents, I'd never ignore the door. That's ridiculous.
And what you got to understand with the magnet is the magnet isn't just a magnet. The magnet is like a fucking barnacle. They're barnacles that remind the driver that, one, they did a bad thing.
Well, okay, yeah, that's good. That's kind of the point. The point of putting the magnet saying, you didn't take the shopping cart back, lazy bones, is to let them know that they are lazy. Yeah, they did a bad thing. They need to know about it.
And 2, it reminds them of the asshole they just interacted with.
Okay, fine. Again, he's not a saint, but he's doing a service to society. The problem I have here, Ian, is that your answer to this seems to be just let people do what they want. Like, just let them leave the shopping cart there. Well, I'm sorry, but this guy clearly has it called upon himself to say, no, I'm not going to have this anymore. Good, this annoys a lot of people, but obviously a lot of people don't see it as a bad enough thing to complain about to people that are lazy enough not to do it. But there's a reason this guy has an awful lot of support. It's because, yes, people like that someone is actually doing this. They don't see it enough, and they are too, scared or socially awkward. Not even necessarily that, just they have other priorities. But this guy made it his priority, and good for him. He's making it entertaining and making money off it. Good. I'm glad he can monetize doing a service for society. We need more of that.
We have these bumper magnets for you. I'm going to put it right here on the side of your truck. There you go. Let's go with the big old sucker here. Woo! Boy, I love that. It's a nice slap right there.
As I say, it's a public service and it's entertaining. Like, you can not like it all you want. You know what's going to make you avoid this, Ian? It's by just putting the shopping cart back. You know, I know you don't answer the door, but do you at least put the shopping cart back? Him and his wife, by the way, they both separately admitted that they just never ever took phone calls regularly for when they were doing Creator Clash. Like this massive, high-profile charity event, and they wouldn't even take phone calls. They were really bad at communicating. And it's like, there's no excuse for this. You cannot scam people out of money like that. I mean, they didn't, because they ended up losing money, but this is the type of person he is now. He's the type of person that's happy that COVID happened because he doesn't need to answer the door to Deliveroo or DoorDash anymore. He can just say leave it at the door and he doesn't have to interact with people. The person who was more than happy to drive across America to go to a Tanamongu event, buy stupid jumpers to wear as well, and would literally just walk up to her and tell her to say the N-word. That is the person that can't answer a door. Like, again, I know you don't like that some fans came up to you and said slurs. I can understand that. But you could have not completely destroyed your own personality to get to that. Effectively, what I feel like I'm talking to here is literally an NPC that's had a basic firmware update. You know, they're not completely updated. They basically had their brain removed. And it is literally just the worst algorithm I've seen in my life. That is what it is like watching this. It's no wonder your channel fell off.
I actually think the cart narc can up his game in this category because the magnets, I mean, they're a great tool, and I think that he should really lean into the fact that it's not technically illegal because you can remove it. So I think he should just up the grade of magnet. I'm thinking neodymium or higher.
I have no idea what the joke is here. I don't know what IDubbbz is trying to say. Where is this going? Oh, magnets are technically not illegal because you can remove them, right? I understand that. Okay, now you need more powerful magnets. I suppose because technically they are removable, but they're hard to remove by humans. Is that the joke here? What's the joke, IDubbbz? I don't understand what I'm watching. Oh, that's all it was, by the way. This is IDubbbz doing a skit with powerful magnets on a car, and yeah, it's not as easy to get off. That was it. It's hard to get off, and it damages the car a bit.
Let me just also point out the fact that you got Randall from Recess, and you got Hall Monitor SpongeBob. These characters are, like, funny when you don't have to deal with them.
You think these characters were funny because... No, the characters were funny because they're reflective of people in real life, but like this, but taken to an extreme. You know, people don't like hall monitors, people don't like snitches, but that's usually because they were snitches for, you know, really inconsequential reasons. It's a bit like when a policeman gives you a ticket for having half a wheel over a double yellow line while you're just quickly dropping your grandmother off at the hospital or something. You know, there's a reason you did it and they won't hear anything of it. In this case, though, there is absolutely no good reason to leave the shopping cart where it is. It takes 20 seconds to move it and get back to your car. I think the best British version of this type of archetype is Parking Pataweo. For those who don't know, Parking Pataweo was a sketch in the sketch show Haryan Paul, and it was basically a spoof of children's shows like Postman Pat and Fireman Sam, where the whole time a narrator is effectively telling of the day-to-day life of a parking attendant, and people getting really annoyed at him, like Paul Whitehouse here, and trying to explain why they broken traffic laws, and Parking Pataweo having absolutely none of it and giving it a ticket here. Now the joke is that there's actually sometimes fairly good reasons for why they did what they did. In this case, I think it was no parking space and he quickly went to get lunch and it'd only be 5 minutes, and basically he was unlucky the parking attendant was there. That's the joke. The problem is that this is completely different to the shopping cart thing, because again, you know, this is slightly more reasonable. Okay, it's mostly out of laziness, but this is where the funny part comes in. But with the shopping cart thing, there's no reason not to get a shopping cart into the shopping cart bay. Here there are plenty of reasons as to why he parks in a place he couldn't park, and was fairly unlucky with it. Basically, I'm doing a really long-winded way of telling IDubbbz that he somehow doesn't understand comedy.
You know, I hate to break it to you guys, but the fish whose house was, invaded by the open window maniac, they're actors. So they consented to SpongeBob breaking into their home. All of this is like scripted.
I already did a long-winded explanation on the comedy here. I kind of like how IDubbbz is saying, oh, these people are disabled, their brain doesn't work like yours or mine. And now he genuinely is acting like he has the biggest brain on the planet here. He's treating you like an idiot. Like, yeah, people understand that it's not real life. The joke is that it's riffing on something that people have observed in real life. But again, this joke doesn't quite work here. And I can see, IDubbbz, why your big brain saw the connection between cart narcs being, oh, a narc, you know, a hall monitor type person, and why you'd bring up this archetype. As I say, it doesn't work. Because part of the reason is that part of you will be on the side of the person who is being currently apprehended by the hall monitor or whatever, because it's like, oh no, they had decent reason to do that. No, in reality, there's no reason not to put your cart back. It's as simple as that.
What's happening with the cart narc, that's not scripted. These are real people just trying to get through their day.
Yeah, that's true, and a lot of them aren't in a rush, so there's no reason that they can't put their cart back. That's why he's picking them.
You know, any antagonizing, like, they didn't want that to happen.
Like, yeah, everyone knows that. This is why it's entertaining, because it's real people being lazy and being called out for it. This is why people like it. Do you have a brain anymore?
And they tried to make their boundaries clear. If you look on the recess.fandom wiki, it says, Leonard Weems is the father of Randall J. Weems. He has a similar personality to Randall, as he enjoys being a snitch and believes friends get in the way.
What are you talking about, Ian? Where do you think you're going with this point? Why do you even think this is entertaining? Like, what, you're just saying, don't you understand he's a snitch? Well, he's not really, though, is he? He's not snitching to anyone. He's telling people, hello, can you please put that car back? And if they don't, what does he do? He puts a magnet on their car. This is not the same as trying to get them banned from the store for not putting their car back. This is not the same as him going to the police, is it?
So even with Randall, when we look at what he's doing on the recess playground, we're like, oh man, Randall, you shouldn't be doing that. But I can at least be empathetic to know that, one, you're a child, two, you're an actor, you're just, it's all acting, and three, your father's a fucking rat.
Are we in like a therapy session for IDubbbz here? What are you talking about? Like, yeah, the point of Randall in Recess, I've not actually seen it in years, by the way, but the point of it is to show that, you know, snitching can go too far. Being a stickler for the rules can go too far. Yeah, that's fine. That isn't cart narc. It's not even a hard and fast rule that you need to return the trolley. His whole point is that it's only a good thing to do. All it is taking a few seconds out of your life. If you don't do it, it's out of pure laziness. That's the whole point. And if people get mad about that, it's their own fault.
I would just like to have a lot more of this context for the cart narc, because if you're gonna, you know, record someone at their fucking lowest and like antagonize people to the point where they blow up at you, we should at least know, you know, some of your history.
I thought you said he was a radio show host. Like, I'm not being funny. That is the type of person you will know more about than anyone else in life. This isn't like a random guy on YouTube. As you say, he was a radio show host. I imagine he did it because people were saying they're getting annoyed about it, and enough people said it that he said, I'm going to do something about it then. You know, I don't know. I was hoping that you could say, but clearly you've not done your research here. You just said, oh, he's a radio show host, and didn't look into that.
He's able to do the, like, irony poisoning thing where a lot of people who are watching it are like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just jokes. But he's like, no, actually, I'm very serious about this.
Is this Cope from your Sam Hyde thing going completely wrong? What the hell is irony poisoning? Do you mean, hang on, do you mean that some people are taking it as a joke and that he doesn't really care about the cart thing? Like, I didn't get that from that. Again, I don't really know this guy very well, but having a quick look at his comments, there's no one here that seems to think it's a joke. The top one is pointing out actually that people who are claiming they're disabled get so angry that it literally cures their disability and they can throw things at Sebastian. A lot of these are comments saying that basically they understand that this is real, these are real people, and that they're getting angry because their laziness is being pointed out. Wow, it's like what I've been saying this whole time without seeing a single episode of this is true, and I understand the audience better than IDubbbz. How the hell has that happened? I've never seen a video of this. I've never even looked at his community, and I can actually describe them more accurately than IDubbbz has. IDubbbz has basically called them all idiots. I've called them upstanding people that understand laziness is a cancer on society. Amazing.
Like on his radio program, they have like a segment where they're talking about how he loves calling the cops on people.
And of course I called the cops, and of course they didn't show, at least the 10 minutes that I was there. Call the cops on these people, or else they'll keep doing it.
Right. Well, IDubbbz was taking out context there. Oh, he just loves calling the cops. Right. I'm actually not going to be lazy, and I'm going to look up what he was talking about.
I've caught a guy masturbating on one of those open-air walkways in Las Vegas at a gas station in his car. This guy it was late at night. I was taping DUIQ. He was outside his closed business. In one hand, he's got his phone.
Okay.
Which is playing porn.
Yeah.
Again, in public street. This is not some alley.
Yeah.
His other hand, he's spitting on and then cramming it down the front of his pants. And tugging it.
Oh, wow.
What?
And of course I called the cops.
Yeah, this is what IDubbbz is complaining about. Oh, he likes to call the cops on everyone. He's just a snitch. No, he was calling the cops because someone was masturbating in public. Are you serious here, IDubbbz? This is IDubbbz, what I would expect from someone you do a content cop on. Oh, this person just lies, they remove context, and they just try and make their point in really sneaky and ratty ways. That's effectively what you said about people like Leafy and Keemstar, and now you're doing it way worse than I've seen either of those two do it. Like, Keemstar's bad, don't get me wrong. This is worse than anything he's done. Keemstar at least tells Boogie that he's bad for faking cancer. At this point, if you were going to make a Keemstar content cop, I think you'd remove all that context. That is how bad this is. In fact, this is so embarrassing, I'm going to find context for all of these clips.
Panhandling, which is against the law. Blocking the sidewalk, which is against the law. Drinking in public, which is definitely against the law.
Again, these sound like small things. Here's the whole clip before we get to that small bit that IDubbbz had.
So there's this guy who lives very near to Ravy,
Yep.
who sits outside this shopping center with like a grocery store and the gym I go to. And he sits there in a wheelchair. He can walk. His gross feet are out, Ravy, which I know you don't support.
Not at all.
He's almost always has an open bottle of vodka with him and some smokes. And then, homeless, please help. He apparently, I've talked to some people on like the Nextdoor app. He's been there for years.
Yeah, this is a homeless guy who is making everyone's experience of that shopping centre worse, and he's been there for years, begging and drinking in public and pretending to be disabled. Like, he is clearly not a pleasant person. As he says, he is breaking numerous laws, and he wants him removed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean put in jail. He can go to the police, and the police can actually refer him somewhere where he can get help. But again, calling the police on a person like this, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Again, oh, the guy's just a snitch. No, the guy just wants to live in a place that's pleasant. It's not difficult, and he's doing what he can for it. And again, I salute him.
And I called the cops.
You gotta arrest him!
Yeah, again, IDubbbz is leaving out quite a lot of context in that people are feeling bad for him because obviously he looks a state, his feet are out, he's clearly homeless and down on his luck, let's say. So they keep giving him money, and he's obviously saying, well, he's a fraud because he can walk. He's been there for years. Clearly he's not getting help with all the money he's getting. Call the police. Like, the man's breaking a load of laws. Like, call it snitching if you want, but this isn't unreasonable. This isn't like a minor infraction. This is actually a genuine problem, and a man who is incapable, clearly, of helping himself. So, yeah, call the police, get him to remove himself, either get him help, or force him to be in a position where he has to help himself rather than begging.
I think he was suggesting calling the cops for someone who was panhandling.
What do you mean you think? You just played the clip. And again, you took out all of the context that was, this man was doing it for years, not helping himself, and people were very uncomfortable with him while breaking these laws. Like, again, from what I understand in America, the public drinking is the biggest infraction there. And again, you can say, oh, he tried to get someone arrested for begging. Oh, how's that going to help anyone? And it's for the reasons that you can understand if you go into context. He's been there for years, not helped himself. His feet are out. He looks a state, constantly getting drunk. It's just not a pleasant person to have outside of a shopping centre. Obviously, the police should move him, and they didn't. And he's annoyed at that.
So it isn't surprising that he also cares about the shopping carts going in their place.
Yeah, man, again, it's the 4chan post. You can tell it's a pleasant area because people are willing to not be lazy for the good of society. Like, it's the most basic thing you can do for that, yeah. Obviously, if you're in a place where the shopping carts go back, you're in a place where people are willing to go out their way for others. It's as simple as that. Others they don't even necessarily know, by the way. People they're probably never going to interact with. Purely altruistic. There's nothing wrong with it.
I do genuinely think the cart narc is trying to be ethical and reasonable about how he does what he's doing.
Yeah, I know. I still don't really get your complaint beyond he's not a saint. I really don't understand it here.
But it's kind of hard to be ethical and reasonable when you have tasked yourself with something that is not ethical or reasonable to be doing.
Okay, that is a completely different thing to what you were saying at the start. How is it not ethical or reasonable? Again, from the clips I've seen on this and the ones I've seen myself, he doesn't force anyone to do anything. He just says, please move the cart back to where it belongs. Oh, you're not doing it? Okay, don't be lazy. And then calls them names, sometimes to their face, which, you know, they call him names too. It's only natural. Or he calls them names when they go off. I don't understand what your issue is.
So you have to like cherry pick what you're going to be serious about and not serious about.
I don't think any of it's been not serious. Again, even from the radio clip where he was talking about calling the cops on public masturbators and homeless people, like, he was clearly serious. Is this just what has happened to IDubbbz? If he disagrees with someone, he thinks they're just being ironic? Does he think everyone thinks the same as him, and therefore, if they don't really mean something, it's got to be ironic because he disagrees with it? Like, no, this guy's serious. This guy is 100% real. But as you can see from his comments and the support he gets, people clearly don't like the fact that others are lazy and won't put their carts back. It's just that simple.
He was talking to some guy on this podcast about the guy he antagonized in the Trader Joe's parking lot.
That's another comment we get here and there is, you don't know what was going on in their life. They must have had a terrible day.
I think that guy had some serious stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing this to random people. There are going to be some, obviously, people who have bad days. And, you know, you then saying they're lazy, yeah, it might make them blow a gasket. I don't know. Again, I don't think this is this guy. I don't think this is Cart Narc's fault. Again, it's just taking way more effort to blow up at him than it is just to return the shopping cart and say, you're right, sorry. But some people just like a fight. I mean, to be fair to them, they are trying to be as fair as possible to this guy, but I think they're being too charitable, personally.
Yeah,
regardless of your interaction with him, I think I don't know what it was. Either mental issues or
well, it seemed like he was a contractor
drama.
or something. Like he seemed to be gainfully employed. But yeah, maybe not.
I mean, that's as much as the clip as IDubbbz shows. I don't see a problem again. What's the issue?
I mean, I guess I get it for optics. Like, obviously, you know, you can't really do your cart narc thing if your audience is able to tell that the person you're antagonizing is, like, unemployed and struggling in life.
No, I think the audience would still be fully on board with him antagonizing them. Again, minimal effort. It doesn't cost money to put a trolley back in the bay. Like, seriously, what's the logic for letting a homeless person or unemployed person not put the shopping cart back? Oh, you're unemployed at the moment? Oh, don't worry about it. Like, no, that's obviously not going to happen. And nobody thinks that's reasonable. So I don't get your point. Again.
If it's easy for the audience to tell how much someone's struggling, you're not really going to get any sympathy points. Everyone's going to have sympathy for the person you're antagonizing.
No, again, no, I think they'll be on board with it. I don't have a job does not excuse taking 20 seconds out of your day to return a cart after you used it. It's just no excuse. What are you talking about?
I think the worst aspect of the cart narc videos is him identifying someone as essentially not being all together and being like a very vulnerable person, whether they're disabled, whether their car is kind of shitty or broken down, and basically being like, all right, this person doesn't seem like a threat because their life is kind of in shambles.
You're reading way too far into this. The insult's little more than you've barely got your life together. I can see why you don't bother with the shopping cart. But obviously he's saying it in a much more polite way than that. I don't think he's like calculating the threat. I don't think he's particularly worried about people assaulting him over a shopping cart. Because there is absolutely no one on earth who would see, put the shopping cart back, I'm not going to stop you from leaving even if you don't, and getting punched in the face as being a reasonable reaction.
So that means I can push their buttons harder.
Uh-oh, he's balling it up. Yeah. Want to go back to throwing school, sir? I got some late, he's like...
How long are you going to play this fucking game, man?
Until you take your cart back.
Get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me.
I'll put one on the back here. So
Stop it.
Sir?
Stop it right now.
You stop it. But see, what I'm doing is I'm being nice. Why are you so angry?
Again, he's not being antagonistic in the sense that he's escalating. He makes it clear what he's going to do. Put the shopping cart back or I'm going to be somewhat annoying. Again, I struggle to call this harassment, and if they do try and drive off, he's putting a magnet on their car, which again, they can just bin. But this is his whole point. They're happy to put all this effort into arguing with him over nothing than doing the nothing. I don't know many people that are going to be on the angry man's side. And again, I think it's quite harsh to say this guy's vulnerable. I don't think he is. Not having a perfectly pristine car does not equal disabled guy down on his luck. The guy clearly has a brain. The guy can clearly threaten other people. The guy, as far as I'm concerned, has full bearings and control over his faculties. Put the shopping cart back then. Doesn't matter how bad your car looks.
My motto is no violence whatsoever. People say, well, that was a small guy. You could have taken him cart narcs. Like, that's not the point. Right. Yeah. It's for me to beat guys up. But this guy was such a little guy, and I was like, okay, I'll let him swing at me once. But it was overheating because it was like 105 degrees.
I'm not going to be violent. In fact, the guy's getting so annoyed and starting to assault me, and I'm not gonna get the police involved in that because I know he's just gonna drive off. Like, again, what's bad about this? Again, the guy's just kind of annoying. You can't assault someone for being kind of annoying. And again, he wouldn't be annoying if you just did the simple thing of taking 10 seconds out of your day to put the cart back. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, doesn't matter. Less than a minute. Stop being lazy.
That sort of like flippant behavior makes me want to it makes me want to be violent. It makes me want to be very violent.
Now, by the way, this is irony poisoning, by the way. Ian is genuinely saying here, oh, you know, he's doing the joke of, oh, I want to get violent. But the thing is that people are getting violent. And I think, given that he's fully on board for some reason with the side of the people not putting their shopping cart back, I genuinely think he's actually on their side for them to be violent. This is a definition of irony poisoning. He's just projected. Like, a lot of people say that Ian fell off, but he has genuinely become a leftist as well. Not that I'm saying he was ever like necessarily a based, full-on right-winger, you know, economic freedom for everyone type person, but certainly on the cultural side, he clearly saw that leftists were hypocrites, and he used to make fun of them. Well, Tanamongu anyway, and now he seems to have joined them, with not a hint of irony, ironically.
This guy was such a little guy, and I was like, okay, I'll let him swing at me once.
My fucking wife!
I didn't mess with your wife, sir. She's chasing me. I'm being chased. Hey, can you call security? There's a guy chasing me. He's trying to be violent. Sir, I'm not gonna fight you. Goodness gracious. Where'd he go?
Really finna knock this.
That's why I want to stay away. Well, I'm staying away for safety. Sir, please, who's threatening to beat me up, knock me out. To keep my distance, obviously, narcoteers, because I don't want to get in a physical fight with that gentleman.
So that was the whole clip, and okay, yeah, let him swing at me once was clearly not quite what happened. That's fine to show, but what you showed is that actually, yeah, this guy was completely unhinged, and actually, yeah, calling the police probably wouldn't have actually been unreasonable. But he got security on the case, and, you know, that's fine as well. Like, again, IDubbbz, what's your point here? Don't antagonise people because they might hit you. Okay, well, he's not particularly antagonising them. He's telling them to do something quite simple and letting them know that he'll leave them alone once they do that simple thing. If you think, oh, don't bother doing that, you might get hit is good enough reason not to do it, then what do you say? I guess live in the decline then, enjoy it. I know you are, because you got rich off it. Can't wait till you lose another million on the next creator clash.
Cartnark calls people who don't return their shopping carts lazy bones, and if they get mad and yell at him, he calls them angry bones. I'd like to propose a few more bones. Angry bones is like the Cartnark's dream zone.
No, obviously his dream zone is the orderly bones. That's why he's telling people to put their shopping cart back. Also, I can't believe you made this without adding lazy bones in, which is like the whole of one of your points. I can at least appreciate you put effort into this, but my god, man, this is bad.
You know, if you can fall on this part of the spectrum, it's perfect. It's like the Goldilocks zone. Next up, you have fist bones, and this is where things start to get like a little bit more dodgy.
Yeah, well, no one likes being punched. Again, I said I was going to skip out on skits, but I think he's making a point, but this is the problem. I can't really tell what his point is, so we have to listen to the whole thing.
Gun bones is actually a very interesting one, because that's more violence. It's very life-altering violence, but it awards you some privileges.
Okay, so it turns out I'm wrong. He does actually have lazy bones on this diagram. He's got a whole space to the left. I don't know why he put his face cam over the text. That's just stupid. But clearly he's got, what, lazy bones and entertainment bones, then something else that he's hidden. Again, yeah, the talking back's the type of thing, but I mean, even the clips I watched, he wasn't particularly antagonising. Hell, none of the clips I watched had magnets. Again, I think people just like seeing lazy people being called they're lazy. I think that's about as far as this goes, and I think IDubbbz has picked up a few times it's got a bit out of hand and said, oh, he's clearly trying to go for this, which I just don't agree. I don't agree that's what he's trying to do. I think he's genuinely just trying to stop people being lazy.
What I mean when I say this is a guy from Texas actually threatened Agent Sebastian with a gun. He said, I'm going to put about 6 in you.
I'm fixing to kill you, and I'm a killer. I'm fixing to put about 6 right in your forehead.
Unsurprisingly, Agent Sebastian left him alone after that.
Okay, I assume you don't think that was reasonable.
I think the energy was very clear that he was willing to shoot him over this. There was another instance where a guy pulled out a gun and cocked it. Obviously, Sebastian didn't continue to antagonize him. He left him alone, and he even blurred out the guy's work truck in the video he posted. And I think he said, like, I don't want this guy's business to be affected by this interaction or some shit like that.
That is unironically, like, ridiculously charitable. I don't think I'd do that. I think I'd get the police involved in something like that. I mean, I'm British, so it's a little different over here. But even then, like, see a man directly threaten you like that, and you say, you know, oh, it might just be a bad... Like, you're being remarkably charitable here. Like, what's your issue here? I'm really confused.
And I'm like, bro, you go around talking about, like, shaming people? Here's a perfect time to shame someone. That was clearly an overreaction. Cocking a gun. Perfect time to shame someone, but you don't want their business affected. You don't think someone's life is affected or their mental health is affected when you post a video of them having a freak out in a parking lot for 15 minutes?
I'm sorry, IDubbbz, you realise what you're comparing here? You are comparing a possible lawsuit for this guy, which will ruin his life. Like, he won't be able to work again if he has that felony charge, versus some people might be slightly embarrassed by the embarrassing way they acted. Like, yeah, again, the guy probably knows that he was seen cocking the gun, and he probably won't do that again. That's about as far as the shaming goes. He doesn't want to go as far as to ruin someone's life over this. That's what he's saying. And if you think that having someone on camera being called lazy for not putting their cart back is going to ruin their life, I don't know how thin-skinned you got. I have no idea how you got to this point. Again, you shamed some people off the internet. It's kind of amazing that you, of all people, are saying this. I mean, if you're so bothered by it, shame him yourself. But obviously, no. Apparently, your shame only goes as far as sitting behind a camera and having a go at them. Like, again, this guy shames someone by saying "say N-word" at a convention where he got a picture taken with them. Like, this man used to know how to shame people, and now he's saying, "Oh, that can ruin lives." I suppose he apologised to them, but even then, when he apologised, everyone who responded to it said, "I didn't want an apology." And Tanamongo even said she deserved it. It's just, what are you talking about here? Why are you on this weird redemption arc of, like, oh, these people are lazy and you shouldn't call them that? Like, what a weird thing to have a bugbear over.
You don't think their life is affected, but you can have some sympathy for the business owner?
I mean, to be absolutely fair here, he doesn't necessarily actually know if that's the business owner or an employee for it. I think this is another side of it. He doesn't want that company being embarrassed by this because of something their employee did. Again, this is about personal shame, not professional shame. Again, we don't actually know if this guy owned the business or if he was just an employee. He does not want the reputation of that business tarnished by that one idiot. I don't understand how you don't understand the difference there. I'm actually floored.
I think we can all do the mental work it takes to understand why these decisions are made by Sebastian. It's basically like, if this guy's business is heavily affected by my fucking video, then all of a sudden I'm engulfed in controversy and it's now a problem.
Okay, even if that's the case, what's wrong with that? Again, the guy just wants shopping carts to be returned. He doesn't want to have mega controversy over it. This is probably why I didn't even know about this channel. I only found out about this channel through you. Unless this is some 4D chess thing of, you know, you can't really have a go at people like you used to anymore, so you're just doing this 4D chess thing of, you actually think this is a good thing and this is your way of actually promoting the channel. Like, unless you're doing that, this has been an embarrassing video. Of course, the guy who's just going around saying, put your shopping cart back, lazy bones, doesn't want to get shot and doesn't want to be involved with the police insofar as getting a business to lose money. Like, yeah, he doesn't want to be part of controversy. What's wrong with that? What he's doing is ultimately harmless. That is clearly why he put that message up.
But for the guy who has to fucking open his PT Cruiser by reaching out of the car and pulling it open like that, no one's gonna fucking care about this guy.
Well, he didn't lose his job, did he? Like, what do you mean? If the guy owns a business, it's not under any threat, is it? That's how he's equalising it. The guy just didn't handle the situation very well. And that's all he wants to record for, to show that some people don't handle the situation very well, despite the fact that what he's asking for takes minimal effort, almost no effort, I'd say. This is unironically like bug posting, like Starship Troopers bug posting. The humans are doing something perfectly reasonable, which is stopping themselves from being nuked from orbit by meteorites, and everyone goes on the bug side for God knows what reason, because they watched a different film. That's exactly what's happening here. The guy is saying, this is a problem, I want to deal with it, can you please put your shopping cart back by yourself? And when they go mad like this, apparently you've got to be on their side. Like, why? Oh, the guy's, his indoor handle didn't work properly. Clearly he's mentally disabled. Like, oh, this is such a fringy from EFAP thing. This is much more insulting than what Narcs is doing. Like, Narcs isn't the one saying, look at these mentally disabled people who can't handle their anger, and look at him. Look at how embarrassing this is. He has to open the outside of the car door because his indoor one doesn't work. Like, he must be poor. He must be really down on his luck. Like, no, he's just saying, doesn't matter where you are in life, put your cart back. Like, you used it. Put it back. I can't believe this is the level of moronic, idiotic takes that IDubbbz has fallen to. This is embarrassing.
I don't care about his mental health. I don't care about what he's struggling with.
He obviously didn't care about the guy who cocked the gun's mental health. He just cared that the business didn't have its name tarnished by the incident, because clearly he didn't know if he was an employee or the owner of the business. He didn't want to risk the business's reputation being tarnished, and so blurred it out. It's perfectly reasonable. But no, you've gone to the opposite assumption of, oh, clearly this guy only respects people if they own businesses. There's no reason to think that.
So I get free reign to put this guy online. It is really bad.
He put the guy who cocked his pistol online. What do you mean? Like, he just doesn't want to get professional businesses involved in this. Like, perfectly reasonable with that. He still put the guy online. He didn't blur out his face. This is a level of reach I've never seen before.
And it's win more. Like, clearly this guy has a fucking business. He's able to drive around with a fucking firearm.
I mean, that's legal in a few states. I don't understand why you've jumped from he's in a company van with a firearm means he owns it. That's not necessarily true. Like, I know this from listening to people who live in America and work driving around in vans. They can carry. It depends on the discretion of the business. I can't believe I'm having to explain this to an American, though he does live in LA, so kind of makes sense I have to explain this to him.
And essentially get a guy to not fuck with him, like, that's extremely win more. These aren't the guys who we should be worried about and who deserve to be antagonized.
I mean, again, I'm bringing out all the buzzwords today. Bigotry of low expectations. Effectively what IDubbbz has just said here is these people are clearly poor, clearly mentally disabled, literally what he said, by the way. Therefore, we can't expect them to spend 30 seconds putting a shopping cart back where it belongs. I just can't believe it. There is no one on planet Earth who says that bringing out the gun was in any way reasonable. That is obviously the worst clip you have shown so far of how people have reacted. And I think that's why he laid off. Like, that's as far as he needs to go with it. One, he doesn't want to get shot. Two, put a shopping cart back isn't worth being threatened with a gun over. And three, that guy looks like the worst person ever simply for getting out that gun and cocking it. He doesn't need to say anything. The clip is self-evidently terrible, and so that's all he did. The business thing is just completely unrelated to everything else in the video. He doesn't want businesses to go under because of these videos. However, obviously IDubbbz is saying, oh, well, it's fine for individuals to. Look, the individuals are making their own choices here. You don't know if that guy owned the business, therefore he doesn't want the business affected. That man is completely in control of his faculties. He got out a gun. Therefore, yeah, he should probably be shamed on the internet for that. Lose his job over it, though? Well, that's up to Cartnark. I wouldn't blame him if he got police involved, though. But he didn't.
What are all these parking violations for, by the way? That's a lot of them.
Yeah, they're all illegal, too.
They aren't. They aren't.
Nah, fully on board with him basking in that glory of saying, oh, you won't put your shopping cart back? You can't even park correctly either. I'm not surprised you're lazy. Like, yeah, I'm fine with him pushing on that. Oh, but IDubbbz would say, oh, but don't you understand? He's so mentally disabled, he doesn't know how to park correctly. What an argument, man.
The people who are probably most deserving of being antagonized by the Cartnark are the ones who basically guffaw and just drive off.
I think they all deserve a baseline of antagonism. I think the more they go on about not putting the shopping cart back, but putting all the effort into have an argument, yeah, the more they deserve to be antagonized, like, obviously.
Let's put it this way, Sebastian and the Narcoteers. If it's really worth it for someone to not take the cart back to the cart corral, their life is not fucking roses. Their life is not pleasant.
Are you serious? Is this where we're going with this? Like, I mean, it's been telegraphed the whole time, but you're seriously just saying out loud now, people who put the carts back can only have a perfect life. If people aren't putting the carts back, think about it. Their life's probably terrible. There's no reason for this. That is such a lame excuse. And there is no way you would have made a video like this 5 years ago. Like, this is embarrassing. Humiliating, in fact.
I know we love to make all of their actions malicious, but it's just not the fucking reality. They're not thinking about you.
IDubbbz has just completely lost the string of thought here. I don't know where he's going. He doesn't think they're thinking about him. He just wants them to put the cart back. But their personal opinions on him aside, he doesn't care. Just put the cart back. Again, he doesn't think they're malignant. He doesn't think they're evil or anything like that. He just thinks they're lazy. And he doesn't want people to be so lazy that they can't be bothered to spend 30 seconds putting a trolley back. I don't understand why you're reading his mind and saying he must think they're evil. No. I don't think he really cares what position in life they are either.
Not thinking about you isn't the biggest crime. We do it every fucking day.
Seriously, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean? From the research I've done on this channel, nowhere does he seem to care if people think about him or not. He just gives out his opinions and some people listen to him. He doesn't seem to care beyond that. This is absurd. That's where he leaves it, by the way. That's his concluding statement. He just ends the video after that. I'm flabbergasted. I actually can't believe that this is where we've got to with IDubbbz. Honestly, so much effort, thought, and scathing critique went into his Content Cop videos, most of them anyway. I just can't believe it's got to this. It's got to a point of, oh, I'm now going to make discount Content Cop. Like, this was an excuse. This could have been an excuse for a Content Cop. But he just can't be bothered putting the effort into it anymore. He goes around trying to make some documentaries, and, you know, the Airsoft Fighty one was good. I didn't watch the second one. Then the Sam Hyde one. Sam Hyde just humiliated him. Completely humiliated him. I don't really get why IDubbbz wasn't ready to be screwed about by Sam Hyde. I don't know Sam Hyde very well. I know he's a comedian, and I know he screws about a lot. Obviously, you should go in expecting that, and he just was completely unprepared. Clearly he's changed, and everyone can see that. And the arguments made here genuinely make me worry for his mental state. What has happened? Obviously, you know, I don't know him personally or anything like that, but the videos he used to make clearly were passion projects, especially the Content Cops. Clearly he cared about them. Clearly he not only scripted, he clearly drafted them. And the ad-lib stuff he was fine to keep in. But what was the ad-lib stuff here? Oh, like that lame joke at the beginning. And that was it. Everything else felt like a first draft script that he didn't think through and contradicts himself multiple times over. This was horrendous. Embarrassing, humiliating, and all the comments reflect that. Most of the comments are... There was a comment that said, this is the exact definition of we have Content Cop at home. And that's a very popular comment, second to top in fact. And then you go further down, oh look, people are saying that this just isn't good content. And it does make people wonder what the hell happened, IDubbbz. Like, when we say we miss the old you know... It wasn't the N-word, F-words. The insults were funny, but really, why do people go back to your Content Cop? It's because the critique was accurate, the jokes were funny, the edgy stuff was peripheral. it was kind of tertiary. It wasn't the main reason people came to you. People thought it was funny, but you could easily make that Keemstar video without any slurs, and it would still be as hard-hitting. Yeah, fine. Saying slurs like that, I think we can all agree that was funnier 5 years ago. Doesn't mean that you need to lower yourself to this. Anyway, I think I have reminisced over good IDubbbz for long enough. Anyway, when it comes to shilling, we are currently going to be starting a Tosh Talk series on Monday. That will be hosted by me, but mainly a lecture from Jack. If you enjoyed the British policy issues of the 19th century, you'll like this. It's an entire history of the geopolitics of Rome, so do come along to that. It'll be every Monday. I believe we have 7 in the series, but knowing Jack, we'll probably have more. Tuesdays, it'll be Tosh Talks next week, so do come along to that. Wednesday, Dustborn, come along, it'll be great. And then Saturday, we'll have another Laughing at the Guardian, and it will be all fun and games. Videos will be out as and when, and with that, that's everything I had for you today, so do subscribe, become a member, all that good stuff. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.